Here's what happened. You're on this date at a restaurant and you're wanting to have a conversation with this person, but every 5 seconds, it feels like there's this random person coming in to interrupt the conversation. So by the end of this date, there's hasn't been any deep, intimate connection that's been made or trust for a potential future relationship. And that is what is happening today with the relationship we have to ourselves, where it can feel like every 5 seconds there's some sort of interruption that comes in externally. That could be you checking your phone in the morning when you wake up, to looking at the news throughout the day, to watching a movie or shows. All these ways of externally causing you to disconnect with yourself and your body, and creating that deep, intimate connection with you. So this is a place to start for how to be your own best friend. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. Before getting into it today, I want to say thank you for listening to this episode. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe and follow for the latest episodes. My commitment to you by you doing that is to make this the best show it can be the best storyteller that I can be for you, best researcher, and the best interviewer for the guests that are coming on and sharing their insights for this mission of Make Burnout Extinct and to help you to build a better life. So thank you for being a part of this movement. Problem I want to get into today is feeling like a stranger to yourself. What I want to share with you is one foundational way to start to get to know yourself better and to move towards becoming your own best friend. I then want to get into 3 questions that I'm going to share with you through a guided meditation where you can create that space for yourself to reconnect at your deep core of who you are and that trust that can be built with your body. Because without the trust that you have with your body, then you're not going to recognize signals and the signposts that your body is trying to share with you for you realizing that you're moving towards hitting burnout. Because what I've shared before is that every day there is this spectrum where on one end you've hit burnout and on the other end you've made burnout extinct. And it's your habits that you are implementing in your day-to-day that decide where you land on the spectrum. And for hitting burnout, it doesn't happen overnight. And your body is constantly giving you signals to let you know when you're moving towards feeling exhausted or feeling negativity in your life, or noticing that you're performing poorly in your work or in your relationships. You feel like you're not showing up as best you can. Like, there are all these signs that the body wants to let you know, but you have to both be willing to recognize that, which is where the trust comes in, and then be willing to listen to that, which is also supporting that trust for yourself. So I'll get into that guided meditation, those 3 questions, and with this connection to burnout. And what I think back to is the pandemic. The pandemic was a time where there was a lot of isolation that happened. And that caused a lot of stress and overwhelm to build up, where I think about it as human beings, we're meant to be in community. So when you don't have that ability to do that, it can be very isolating and very lonely because of that. And in my life, I'm the youngest of 3 boys. So I have 2 older brothers where they really got to know each other and, they became really close friends and still are. But for me, because of the age gap, it was I think 4 years, thinking off the top of my head, 4 years with the age gap between us. And they're 18 months apart. And I'm 4 years. I spent a lot of time alone growing up as a kid. And I really had to get to know myself and get comfortable with myself. And that came with a lot of having to face a lot of the challenges for the thoughts that were coming up for me, and being able to address those and not just let them, brush on by, but really being able to get to know myself. And that led me through, a wild journey of spending a lot of time playing Legos as a kid, and being able to hang out, to going outside and spending hours just walking without any headphones or tech, being able to go out for a meal and eat at a restaurant by myself. I remember doing that for the first time, and it was at first a little nervous, but then after a while I'm just okay, cool. I can get used to this. Going to the movies, that's the one that I actually really like to do, which is go to the movies and just watch a movie and be that person that's by myself hanging out. And at first, I always felt a little embarrassed, because again, and also felt that urge of wanting to be in community. But with how life was growing up, I got forced into that a bit of just, when both my brothers went to college, I became an only child in the standpoint of I was the only one in the house with my parents. And so I had to figure out how to entertain myself. and hang out and just be able. By that point, I didn't have the iPhone to be able to distract myself. So I really had to be there with my thoughts and be able to really get to know myself better. So I want to help you to do the same, because yeah, it could be very easy to go on your phone and distract yourself by scrolling whenever you have the thoughts come up that you don't want to look at or address. And those thoughts could be like, what do you actually want in life? That could be a question. It's like, who are you? Could be another one where you're struggling with figuring out, who the hell am I? Or the other one that can happen where someone can tell you, hey, just be yourself, and you may have no idea what the fuck that is, to be yourself, right? That can cause more stress and more overwhelm even in your life to try to figure that out. So I want to get into first defining, like, what does it mean to be your own best friend, based off of my own experiences now, for decades of having to spend time by myself. So to be your own best friend, I think about that as to not judge yourself, like to accept yourself for what it is that's coming up for you, right? And it's a lot harder at times to really practice it, because there are moments where you want to judge yourself, where you have the internal beating yourself up of like, like shit, I could have totally done better with going out there and connecting with this person, or sending that email, or being able to communicate what I wanted to really say. Like, there can be those moments where we judge ourselves and then beat ourselves up internally with the mental chatter, but all that is just moving us towards hitting burnout, right? So when you can accept yourself for all the thoughts that come through, for all the mistakes that happen, that is what I believe is to be your own best friend. To also not hold yourself back from growing is another, being your own best friend. To be able to cheer yourself, and to support yourself in growing in certain areas that could be very scary. If that's growing in your career and trying to grow your business, if that's trying to grow in your relationship, or trying to get started into a relationship, or even to make friends, to grow in having more friends that are deep connections. Like, I go back to the stat that I remember in the survey that I saw, where on average, for Americans that have no close friends in 1990 compared to now 2021, there's a 300% growth in Americans that have no close friends. So that could be something that you want to focus in on, is creating a deep connection with others. So being able to not hold yourself back is also how you can be your own best friend. And then the other one that can be really tough for you is being able to be with your own thoughts. Actually taking the time to just be there and let those thoughts pass you by. I like to think about it as you are observing your thoughts, and you are sitting on this park bench on this, and there's this highway in front of you, and all the cars that are going by are your thoughts that are just going by. They don't have to be your absolute truths. And when you can just let them flow through and realize that all of it has some sort of meaning, like there could be a reason why you're thinking the thoughts of, oh, you suck right now. Well, it could be because you made a mistake, right? Like, so when you can just see that naturally there could be a reason for the thoughts that come up, or thinking back to like, oh my gosh, like you're going to be, the thought of feeling so scared to go step up on stage and share your ideas or your message. I know for me that came up, and it was because I was so nervous to be seen and actually share who I am to the world. And so anytime I had done that in the past, I would literally, my body would shake. And for me, of course, I'm going to then feel scared as a thought before going up on stage. I can honor all of those thoughts. Like, I can be able to honor those thoughts, but not let them become my absolute truths. And that's where it comes back to some of the small things that you can do to start to build that deep, intimate connection and trust with yourself. It comes back to creating uninterrupted time with yourself to address your thoughts. So that is where you can start with this. And I go back to the saying, the more you understand something, the less scary it becomes. And there can be all this fear that's bubbling up for you as I'm sharing this about spending that uninterrupted time with yourself, right? Maybe you're going to have to address what it is for the challenges that you've been facing and you haven't really been dealing with. If that is in relationships and not feeling like you've shared honestly how you how you're feeling and what's coming up in your life with a partner or with friends, or not even really being able to address that with yourself, of saying like, where do you feel like you've been lacking in in your life, and where do you want to grow, and who it is that you want to become. Like being able to really sit with all those thoughts and asking yourself, are you making progress? Are you moving towards who it is you want to become? So when you can create that time with yourself to address those thoughts, that is a great starting point. And some of those simple ways to be able to do that is going out for a walk in nature without any tech. Being able to do that for a little while. I know I've gotten out now to the point of being able to do that for a few hours, but that's a great opportunity to reconnect with yourself. And it doesn't have to be that long. It could be 5 minutes to get started and then build from there. Another one could be taking yourself out on a date and going to that restaurant that you've wanted to go to and being able to have a meal there with yourself and just spend that time with you. Another one could be going to the park and hanging out at the park, being able to have that time for you to just be able to address your thoughts. And journaling can be a great form of that, being able to journal and write out your thoughts and what's coming up for you, to be able to create that connection point. The other thing that you can do as well to get started is to lean into your feelings. So we feel emotions; those come up throughout. But I know for my life, there would be a lot of times where I would numb out these emotions and sensations from my body because I was so scared to really feel, because I felt like it was going to be this massive balloon inside of me that would eventually like expand out and pop, and I wouldn't be able to handle all these emotions because they're so big. So I would go to numbing, and that could be numbing in different forms. Like I know for me, alcohol was one of them. I remember in college, especially, like I really have a lot of fear around going out with other people and being able to like figure out how to like help out with that anxiety of like just being myself around people. I said, okay, let me drink so then I can have an excuse if I do anything stupid. I can just be like, oh, I can blame the alcohol rather than just like, that could be just who I am, like the silly, weird, goofy side of me. I can have this like excuse of, oh, I was just drinking, so that wasn't me. And that's a way that I wasn't able to then numb it. That's a way that I numbed it out rather than leaning into my feelings. And a way that you can do that is what we'll go through with a guided meditation of going through a body scan and really connecting with your body and understanding where the tension points is, where those stresses are. And that's a great way to allow for thoughts to pass you by and to acknowledge them. Meditation is another one. Being able to have a few minutes to meditate, not only does it help you with your stress levels, decreasing those stress levels, but it also helps you to be present and then let those thoughts pass by. It's just let them keep running and don't attach to those thoughts, but just let them pass on by and notice them and address them. And what are the meanings? Because within those thoughts, I do believe that there's always a meaning within it. Of if you feel like you are constantly beating yourself up internally, well, why is that? What is it that, do you feel stuck? Do you feel like you're giving up on your dreams for life? Do you feel like you're being held back with fear in certain areas of your life? If that's getting into a relationship, to growing into your career, or getting more wealth financially, to more wealth of health and abundance, like feeling like other people are going to judge you, like your family's going to judge you, like whatever that is for you, being able to let those flow so you can notice the patterns that come up. So that could be another way. But being able to create a habit of this is going to help you. And what you can do is just start with 5 minutes. What is an uninterrupted time with yourself that you could do for 5 minutes to get started? So that could be going out for a walk without any tech. It could be hanging out at the park for 5 minutes. That could be going outside and in the backyard and being able to hang out and get like a nice tan and being able to just let your thoughts pass you on by. But whatever it is, start there and then grow that time out more. And what I want to do now is go through a guided meditation to also share another way that you can connect with your body. And you can refer back to this if you'd like, but I also recommend just taking what I'll share with you for the process to create this uninterrupted time for yourself without tech. But especially to get started, you may need this for helping you to get started for that momentum. So I totally get that. What I now want to go through with you is a guided meditation. And if you are driving or walking, you might still be able to do this. Driving, you may just have to listen through this, and then for another time, be able to actually do this either walking or or laying down or sitting down or somewhere where you're not going to be interrupted with any outside distractions. So what I'd like for you to be able to do is take a moment to focus in on your breath. With a deep inhale through the nose, and then just being able to release out through the mouth. You can even let a sigh out. But just go at a natural, what feels like a natural pace for you, right? You try to focus in on breathing from your belly rather than what might feel like up in the chest. Try to breathe from your belly and then out through the mouth. And just do a few of those. Get settled in for the space. You may have had a lot of shit that you've been dealing with leading up to listening to this. You may have a lot of shit afterwards, but now is to get present in this moment. And letting it out. Continuing to breathe in and breathe out. Being able to notice your surroundings. So where are you at? You might have like a TV nearby. It could be a mirror, some books. I'm noticing that around where I'm at here. Not so much a TV. I don't got a TV here, but I got a computer that's in front of me. But being able to take a deep inhale and release. And as you're continuing to breathe in, I want to bring it back into your life. What could be coming up for you? For why you chose to focus on how to be your own best friend. Because you may be someone that does check their phone a lot. I get that. Where, whenever you feel a moment of being bored or wanting to distract yourself, you go through the scroll. I know I can do that, where I just want to check out a different video, if that's on YouTube or looking at Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn. Or it could be because you're working constantly on your computer, that it's easy to go to a new website and be able to distract yourself from what it is you're trying to get done, or you just always feel like you're constantly, on your computer, not really being able to connect with yourself. So there could be so many different ways. But this is the time, as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, to focus on you. Because yes, you want to take care of everyone else or take care of all the things, responsibilities they have. But also you can't forget about taking care of yourself and giving yourself a moment for you to reconnect with yourself. And it's not something where it just happens once and then it's done. It's something that's happened over the course of each and every day, creating that moment to connect. It can be just subtle, small moments, a few seconds to be able to do that. And then before you know it, you'll get it where this habit becomes an autopilot, goes into the autopilot phase. And you're not even really consciously thinking about it for these connection points. But as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, you're going to start up in the head. That's where we can spend a lot of our time, is in our mind and our thoughts. So being able to just, if you want, you can bring your hands to your head, which is what I do, and just let yourself notice what's going on there. What thoughts might be coming up. It might be like, this is a little weird, or what the hell am I doing here? Why am I going through this body scan? Like, this dude, what's he doing? That could be coming up. You could be thinking about the day, what's been happening in your day, or in last few days. But noticing then, as you move down, you can notice then what's going on with your ears. Any different sensations that could come up in your face as you move down. Noticing any potential tension there, where the jaw has to relax. You can wiggle your nose a little bit too, just to be able to connect there. And then moving down to your throat. Being able to move your neck back and forth. And then your shoulders. Are they elevated? Can you bring them down a little bit? Imagining that your shoulders are connecting down to the earth. feeling that pull, and moving into your arms. You can even move your arms a little bit, notice any tension points. Moving down into the chest, being able to relax the chest. Until then, your stomach, connecting to your stomach, to your legs, feeling any tension. Maybe do feel it in your butt a little bit, get the butt moving back and forth. Notice anything there, all the way down to your calves and your ankles, even then your feet. Wiggle your feet and your toes. And what to reflect on is, where did you notice any tension points? Or are there any pressures in your body that you feel? Any parts where it feels a little too expansive or constricting? Any of that? It's observing yourself, taking that time to create a connection and a trust. That takes a moment to be seen, and your body is wanting that opportunity right here to be seen. That's an amazing gift. You may have never done something like this before, so I get it. You might be like, this is a little weird, a little strange, a little out there. But when you can recognize that when you're connected with your body, and when you have created a more connection, let's put it that way, more connection with your body and trust with your body, then you can rely on your body to recognize that you're going to be able to show up, put the reps in, to move towards who it is you want to become, the vision you have for your life, being able to recognize that. And what you just went through is a simple body scan, just observing where those tension points are, being able to relax with each breath in and each breath out. Now what I want to share with you are 3 questions. These are 3 questions to reflect on and to think about. And they are so simple, but they create a lot of clarity for yourself of how to move forward. The first one is, what do you not like about yourself? If that's going into fitness, your overall health, if that is how you communicate, how you talk to yourself, if that is how you're showing up in this world, feeling like you're showing up not as strong as you could, what is that? You may have 3 or 4 or 5 or even potentially 1, or you might not even be able to have one that comes up right away. If that's the case, just breathe in and breathe out and let yourself have a moment to reflect. You may have a lot of tension that builds up in the body, resistance. There could be expansive pressure. It feels like there's a pressure on your body to try to avoid answering the question. But there's no perfect answer here. It's just, what is your answer? Because that's going to create direction for you. And it's a lot easier to figure out what you don't like to then what you do like. So you can start here. Now, moving into then the next question to reflect on is, what do you like about yourself? What lights you up? What makes you feel energized, feels excited to get up and move in your day? What are those? That could be literally how you communicate and show up in your relationships. Could be being consistent with certain habits that you really like. That could be the amount of progress and growth that you've experienced in your life, and you really like that. The willingness to take risks and put yourself out there in certain situations that make you feel uncomfortable, but that you know are going to help you to grow. Letting a few come to you so that you can remember them and be able to take note of them. And then the final question to hold on to and ask yourself is, what are you proud of about yourself? And you can think about this in the week of like, when were certain moments or situations that came up where you're proud of yourself? Of maybe it's a situation that comes up where you're really proud of how you responded to that situation. Maybe someone said something to you that really pissed you off, but you had a moment of being able to show up and respond in a way that you're proud of. Or it could be actually showing up and putting in the rep in for a habit that you really didn't feel like it at the time to go out there and get that workout in. But afterwards, after you got the workout in, you felt great. You're so happy then, proud of yourself for actually moving through the resistance to show up and do that for yourself. So you may have a few 3 things or 1 or 2 that come up, and hold on to those. And as you breathe in and breathe out, come on back into the space. Come on back into the space that you're in, being able to observe what's around you, looking at different items, if that's again, books, or if you're outside, trees that you notice. But just come back in that space. Breathe in and breathe out. And get back to where you are. Feeling, if you're sitting down, feeling the seat that you're on. And come on back. I want you to know that you are absolutely capable of being your own best friend. You as a human being, you can do that for yourself. And then from there, you can be able to connect with others around you. And especially if that's something that you want to create more in your life, is both a resilience within yourself and trust within yourself and connection with yourself, and then being able to be in community with others that see you, truly see you and your vibe. Being able to have both of those 2 things are going to help you to rapidly move towards making burnout extinct in your life and to move towards a better life for yourself. And this is your starting point. And from there, you build. And I want to let you know, if you haven't heard it yet, I believe in you. You are capable and you got this. If you like this episode, please don't forget to rate this podcast and help get this message out to make burnout extinct. And you can share what resonates with you from this episode by connecting with me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I don't take that for granted ever. And I'm so excited to reconnect again soon.